Today's guest is really a pleasure for me. Coach Raphael was released from prison not long ago. I mean, like, as in maybe a couple of weeks ago. We got him on this meeting to talk with me about that transition, but we also brought in Coach Robert. And I think Coach Robert tells you he's been free a little bit of time now, a couple of years maybe, but he was down for a long, long stretch of time. So it's interesting to see what happens when somebody's down 30 something years and they get free? And then what happens when somebody is just walking out that door? I think you're really going to love these perspectives, and I'm happy that they joined me today. I'm so happy to see you guys. Okay, a couple of things. Hey, Coach Rafa, I've never seen you out of state blues. Interesting.
And I get told that I'm choosing my clothes to look blue still, so I don't know.
Old habits die hard, my friend. Old habits die hard.
At least they're not state blues, though. They're regular blues out here.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Are
wearing blue too.
Oh no, and I'm wearing blue. We are all LWAP status. No parole for us. GOGI for life. Blues for life.
Absolutely.
Okay, a couple of things. Coach Rafael Figueroa, we're going to put you in charge real soon of a pilot program that GOGI's doing. We are on Sea Yard at Ironwood State Prison. Every week, we are going into Sea Yard on teams. At 2 o'clock, 25 guys join us, and we have a guest speaker or we run a meeting. And then at 3:30, another group of 25 guys, because 25 is the limit, and they're joining us. And I want to get you trained and ready to run this meeting so that I can be your special guest. Coach Robert could be your special guest, but it's going to be your meeting, and you're going to train 50 guys every Thursday to know how to run the meeting and build the culture that is GOGI. That volunteer challenge position?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I know you are. The second you started sending GOGI mail many years ago, I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's on fire. This guy is ready.
That's awesome.
Where were you today when our Zoom meeting was scheduled? Where were you, Coach Rafa?
We went to a meeting last night, and it was like a bonfire meeting for like AA, and it didn't start until like 11, so we didn't get back home till like almost 1.
Wow.
Because I'm on my weekend pass right now still.
Oh, nice.
So I'm still at my fiance's house.
Oh, nice.
So talk a little bit about the weekend pass thing. What is the weekend pass, and how long do you get those weekend pass things?
So at the house I'm at, you have to do at least 2 weeks out, and then they give you 47-hour passes that you can take over the weekend. It's called family reunification, where like you start the process of like building that relationship with your family, of living there with them. And so when the 6 months of the transitional home is done, like you've already built that bond with your family members, know how it is with you, like living there because you spend the weekend with them.
So it's kind of a smoother transition.
Yes.
Well, I've got to tell you, most people are really upset that they have to do 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever. And there are some places that are totally blackout, no cell phone, no nothing. And a lot of people are really upset about this approach. Coach Robert, you were not upset about it. You rolled with it. But a lot of our students say, I'm free. I did my time. I earned my way out. Why are you coming down on me with all these rules? Why do I have to abide by these rules when I'm free? Can you talk to me, Coach Raphael, about the benefit of these smooth transitions, and how did you handle the irritation of somebody saying, okay, well, you're going to sleep here, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you need to do that, you have to meet all these hoops, and then maybe if we feel like it, we're going to let you spend the weekend with your girlfriend. How did you emotionally handle that when you'd worked so hard for your freedom?
So it's just that, right? I've worked so hard for my freedom that it's like I'm being grateful of being out here, right? Of like the simple fact that I'm not wearing state blues no more, right? That I'm wearing regular blues, right? Is just a stepping stone in the journey. Even if I would have had a blackout period, it would have been a step in that journey of getting more accustomed of being out here, because it's a whole different world, especially after doing I did about 20 years. So doing that long and coming to a whole world where everything is phones, technology, like I literally had my daughter hook up the Zoom because I didn't know how to do this right now. All right. And so I was like, here, hook it up. And I'm trying to be right there, staying open-minded and understanding that like I don't know how to use these things. I don't know how to live out here, especially with me since I came in at 17. It's been a little hard to get accustomed to simple things, and like Google Maps has been like my best friend out here, because I probably would have been lost, don't know what to do, how to get around if it wasn't for that. So it's just staying a little self-aware that like, man, we're out regardless of rules. Like we're always going to be under rules, regardless if we're not in prison, if I've done my time. It's like there's going to be rules at jobs. There's going to be rules of society. This is what we fought so hard to get out here for. So it's like just being grateful for the simple fact that I'm out here and being able to talk right now, and like literally just chilling in the living room with my daughter watching a funny show.
Coach Robert, do you feel the same way? When you were on your blackout period and your period where they didn't want you using phones, I think you handled it the same way, but can you talk about your experience?
Yeah, I think the thing we have in common, those like long time offenders, is we come out here being grateful. So I mean, we're not focused. Okay, I mean, there's rules. We've been following rules for the longest. Now we're out here. At least we had in our minds, we knew that we're gonna come out here with a new set of rules, and it's gonna be a process to get reacquainted or to just get accustomed to these new rules, because it's a whole different ball game out here. So I mean, it's basically just being grateful to be out here, and I don't know. I think for me, I'm able to enjoy the little things. I'm able to look around and see the magic around me. A lot of people don't see it because they're not here on the move, and they're focused on other things, and so I have been deprived of so many things, and now I'm out here and I'm looking around, I'm observing everything, and I see magic everywhere. I mean, amongst the ugly stuff that's around it. But I mean, I know it's basically just being grateful, and yeah, we got this. It's a process that we all need to go through. And so we go through it, and we just grind through it, and with the smile and with a positive mindset, especially us, that we have GOGI Tools in our life. I mean, there's no way we're gonna be even if those thoughts come up, and we go, okay, we start looking at the what are my thoughts here? Why am I thinking like this? And you like back up and refocus your energy, and we move forward.
Coach Rafael, was there a time in your life when you just thought the prison politics, the prison life, the prison culture was just your life? Or did you always think, this isn't me? Was there a time when you thought that's who you were? And how, tell me, because there's going to be, GOGI is now in like more than 1,000 prisons across the U.S. So we have hundreds of thousands of people that get to watch these videos. There are a lot of guys sitting on a 2-inch mattress that think this is how I was born. This is my family. This is my community. This is my life. Yeah, it sounds good, Coach Robert. It sounds good, Coach Rafael, but that's never my life. I wonder if you ever thought that you'd be on a Zoom meeting, you're going to be leading Zoom meetings on teams inside prisons, you're sober, you're saying you've got great relationships, you've got good peer associations. Did you ever think that was possible?
So No, like for like my first 10, 11 years of prison, like I remember when I first got to prison, I was 18 years old on level 4 180 in Kern Valley. And like it wasn't just
For those that don't know, because level 4 in some prisons mean minimum. Level 1 is the hardest, level 4 is the minimum. 180, people don't know. What is in
so level
California, level 4 180? What does that mean?
so level 4 180 is like the maximum security that you can have on a general population yard. It's majority of the time that's where the most violence occurs. That's where you started out a lot of your time, especially when I came in was towards the end of a lot of the stuff that was happening like that. There wasn't the opportunities. There wasn't any Senate bills. There wasn't any. Um, they were GOGI tools, but we didn't know about GOGI tools in there yet. We didn't know about anything at that time, and it was like during that time, correctional officers, counselors, prison homies that we called or whatever were like, oh, you got life, you might as well get comfortable because you're going to die here. And for like the first 10, 11 years, that was the mentality of like, okay, well, I'm going to end up dying in prison. So I might as well continue doing this full force, make a name for myself, keep using drugs, keep living life the way I've been living life because there's nothing else. There's no, I always have a saying that if you keep seeing the same thing over and over, you're never going to change or believe that there's any possibilities to anything else, right? It wasn't until I started learning the GOGI tools in 2016, and then I was sent to Ironwood in 2017, which is a level 3, which is a lower level. I started to see the possibilities because of the people that were there actually living their life and actually living life in a positive way without straddling the fence, which meaning that today I'm going to go to group, I'm going to facilitate, but yet when I get out, I'm going to go use drugs or something, and not being on both sides of that fence. It was seeing that it gave me the hope that like, man, there is a possibility, there's a future out there one day. And like when I was facilitating groups, like that was like my main focus, is to give people hope and inspiration, because I believe hope is what drives people to want to do something different. And if you start seeing something different, you're going to potentially start doing something different.
So 11 years into it, you start seeing, you learn some of the GOGI tools, there's a little spark of hope, and then it just started snowballing. And here you are today, free man, still wearing blues, but they're kind of more like GOGI blues.
I'm going to go with Yankee Blue Blader.
Yes, yeah. Coach Robert, can you talk about how many years did you do, Coach Robert?
38.
38. At what point did you say enough's enough, man? I want out of here, and I can get out of here.
Yeah, no, I think before I actually made the decision to give myself a chance, I was in 2000 and I believe it was 2004, and
where were you? At what security level were you? What institution were you at in 2004?
At that time, I was in Pelican Bay Security Housing Unit, and
which wing were you?
I was on D. I was at D8.
D8. I know it well because GOGI was one of the very first programs that's non-religious. We're all religions. We're not non-religious. We are all religions. To allow into the D wing, it was 2015 when we were first in there. But there you are sitting in Pelican Bay in 2004, long before Coach Taylor started walking in, kicking books under the door. What inspired you? What on earth? I remember walking in there. You had to sign in. You had guys with the vests. When I went there, I had to stay behind the door. They had to pop you out. The guns were on you from the bird's nest area. They were trained onto every body that moved. How in that very, very Pelican Bay was at the time the only supermax state prison in the United States. How on earth did you find it within yourself to say, my life is more?
Well, you know what? I just want to make a correction. I was actually in Tehachapi. I had left Pelican Bay. I went to Tehachapi SHU. and
Well,
it was there
it's
that
the same place. It's the
same place different.
troublemakers at Pelican, and they wanted to get rid of them. They threw them over to Tehachapi.
Yeah.
You're not telling me you were improved. If you were trouble at Pelican, they just throw you over to CCI. So I get the story. So 2004, you're at CCI.
Yeah, and then at that time, that's when they started that pilot program, the step down program.
Yes.
And where they were giving us the opportunity to go through the process and get to general population. And then that's when there was politics going around where I ended up going to committee, and they asked me if I want to participate. And I told them no, right at that time.
Of course, that was survival.
And then later time, I thought about it. Because I saw the guys that were actually going over there, and I go, man, why am I? These guys are going. Why am I just holding myself back? But at the time, it was like I had told myself, do I want to wake up to the same misery every day, or do I give myself a chance? So I had thought about that. You know what? I'm gonna just. So I went to committee. I requested to get back on the list, and they did it quick. And before I knew it, it was like within a week. I was going through the step down program. I did a whole year there, and that's when I ended up going to High Desert, and that's where I met you.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the whole process.
Stopping you.
Yeah, and I was already, I was programming, even though there wasn't much programming as far as self-help, AA, that's the regular stuff, regular self-groups that they have there. But I was programming, so because of my programming, I got the opportunity to go to a lower level, which was Ironwood. So Ironwood, yeah.
Spend at High Desert in California.
How long did I spend in High Desert? I think I was there like when I was like maybe like there like 2 years.
Were
2
you
years.
when Warden Spearman was there?
Yes.
Oh my God, the best warden ever.
He was super cool.
I mean, remember when he did the videos, Message to My Men?
Yes, I remember that.
And Coach Rafael, he brought us up to High Desert. He said, Coach Taylor, I'm going up to High Desert. I said, who did you piss off? Nobody wanted to go. No staff wanted to go, especially not a warden and a black warden. A black warden did not want to go to High Desert. He went up there and he said, I need to help my men. And he did a weekly message called Message to My Men. And it would play over the institutional channel. Well, he and I knew each other because he was the warden at CTF, which was a really mild institution. People were if you were at CTF, you were going home. They took him from CTF to High Desert, and he said, I'm not doing this without GOGI. So that's when he shipped us up there, and that's why GOGI got implemented at High Desert, which turned out to be a starship program. He had GOGI in the day rooms being done. Yeah. He had officers talking GOGI. We had GOGI books everywhere. Every single housing module was a GOGI module. We reduced incidents of violence. We reduced staff incidents to a huge, huge level because one warden had the courage to take it on. So I'm so happy you got to work under Warden Spearman. He was the finest warden I've ever worked under.
Yeah, I had a lot of respect for that man. I mean, because I know that it takes courage because at that time there was a lot of officers that weren't really with this program. They were like against it, and no, but no, he didn't give up on us. He brought programs and so no, yeah, man. Me personally, I had a lot of respect for that man.
Yeah, for sure. This video is going to fall under the category of, I think they call it positive peer associations. So on the tablets in prisons, where over 1,000 prisons and jails, and by the time this airs, it'll be 2,000. I'm sure they're growing. It'll fall under the category of positive peer associations. Let's talk for a minute, Coach Rafael, about the importance of, and if you have guys you've been grown up with in your neighborhood or in your affiliation, and you have your moniker and you have your life and you have intermixed families, your homies, sisters married to your brother, how on earth do you make the choice to align with a positive peer association? And does it feel weird to be in a different community. Talk to me about that transition, because it wasn't like you took every friend you ever had in prison and brought them along with the ride and everybody's out. You had to move forward beyond certain friendships and family, perhaps. And talk to me a little bit about that, because if I'm sitting on in an 8-foot cell on a 2-inch mattress, I'm going to be very curious about, well, you don't know my gang, or you don't know my community, or you don't know my history. And I want to make sure they know that both of your histories are 10 times worse than 99% of people who are in prisons and jails. You are kind of like, you had bigger hills to climb, you had bigger obstacles to face, and you did it. You did the Mount Everest hike. So talk to me about those positive peer associations and the discomfort of making that choice or that decision, and how to reinforce positive peer associations.
So yeah, like in the beginning, it can be overwhelming. It can be very hard to not think about or care what people are going to say about you, or what they're going to be thinking about you, and it is what it is, because you have to, as an individual, I had to, let me make a nice statement, I had to understand that regardless, at the end of the day, it's not about the people around me. I know who I am. I know what I'm about, or whatever it is, right? Like, I know that I'm not any of these things these people are going to potentially say about me. And like my first year of being disassociated to the gang, like, yeah, it gets hard. Like, people are not going to want to talk to you. People are going to name call you. People are going to do all these things. Are going to walk away. Are going to stop talking when you're around, and all these things. And it's like, I've come to learn that sometimes it's not about, it wasn't about me. It was something they were struggling themselves, right? And it's about finding that inner peace within ourselves. That no, like, that's why claim responsibility is such a very powerful tool for me, because I've come to learn that it's about making the right decision that's best for me, not for anybody else around me. And sometimes recovery can be a little bit selfish, that you have to think about yourself first and get yourself in the right place, and making those right decisions that we're proud of, that are come. I remember one friend taught me one day, like, you have to suffer for what's important. And at the time, I didn't understand what that meant. I was just like, what do you mean? Right. And of course, we see it as like material things sometimes, like, man, I can't use a cell phone because it's against the rules or whatever. But why use a cell phone in prison when I can get myself out of prison and have a cell phone for the rest of my life? Now I literally have a cell phone and nobody can come and take it from me. And I don't have to, like, oh my gosh, I got to hide it. There's cops coming or anything, right? Like, I literally have a laptop, I have a phone, and it's like, I don't have to hide none of these things. I don't have to do none of those things, because I suffer for what's important. I suffered for being able to be out here with my kids, being able to be the father that I haven't been, right? To experience the pain, the ridicule of people, but then you meet positive people along the way. I met Coach Robert when I was on D-Yard in Ironwood. Like, if I wouldn't have been in that circle, I would have never met Coach Robert. And me and Coach Robert became like one of the best of friends that I had over there. So it's like being able to see friends that I had in there out here. It's been like instrumental in that, like, okay, this is what the hard work was for, being out here to be able to live life, because it's about living life. We only have one life, and we're losing our life being inside of prison. Like, I lost out on my whole 20s in prison because I wanted to continue being this person that I built, a person that I built when I was like 14 years old. I decided I want to join a gang and I want to be this person from this gang. And I was still allowing that decision to influence me at 20 something years old, 29 years old, when I finally got sober and stopped being a gang member. So it's hard. I'm not going to sit here and say it's rainbows and roses. I always like to say that, right? It's never going to be rainbows and roses. Even out here now, like, they're still triggering things. Like, I find myself being more triggered by family more than anything else, but it's like being self-aware of, like, these things are being triggering, and then using my GOGI tools at the time, or just breathing. And the simple thing as just breathing. Like, I constantly, like we were driving. Well, I took my first driving lesson the other day too, so that was kind of
How
scary.
did you do? How did you do?
I kind of jerked it a little bit, so I don't know.
Then you're not going to be driving my car, because I'm not going to lose my blow dryer anymore to any more days. No, you are not getting my keys.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, it's like, I came in not knowing how to drive. Well, I still don't know how to drive, but it's like, never drove a car in my life until now. And it's like, those are all the beautiful moments that it's like worth the struggle that we go through in there, right? Because those are memories that can never be taken away now, right? It's just, it's going to be hard. Life is hard in general. And I know that may sound like a cliche or whatever, but it's true. Like, I've learned that everything in life is an experience that I can learn from it and be better at it the next time around. Like, I may not be the best father, I may not be the best stepfather, but I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to learn from it every step of the way.
I love it. Would you agree, Coach Robert? Is that kind of similar to your journey? And in positive peer associations, when you found Coach Rafael, did you say, yep, that's part of my tribe, my new tribe? How did that occur?
Yeah, how did that happen?
Yeah, I remember he went to go from C yard to D yard, and I don't remember exactly how we met, but I don't know if you remember on the yard, but we met and we kicked it off. I mean, we learned that. Well, actually, I would see him go to the chapel, and then I learned he was actually somebody had told me, hey, that we have another GOGI coach. I go, GOGI coach, and I found out that it was Mr. Figueroa. And so from there, we started, talking, hanging around, going to groups together. Also doing the Power World meetings, and well, some of the guys that I renewed had already gone home, but we had a small community of individuals that were positive minded, and they were all in their rehabilitation. And so even though we were all go together, meet up at the chapel, or do Power World on the yard, in the evening yard. It was fun. It's just having positive individuals doing the right thing. I mean, it was liberating. We didn't have to worry about getting 115s or the COs, harassing us. And as a matter of fact, the COs got to know us, and they was in my experience, they were always say, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. Gomez?" And even when there was a one that sometimes there were those bad apples, and even them, I mean, I would just thank them when they freeze me. All right, thank you, and you have a good morning. And they were like, "What? You thank me for harassing you?" And then I just go, and they would just stop bothering me, and they just like, "Okay." So yeah, man, it was a great experience just to be with positive-minded individuals, especially GOGI guys.
For sure. You know what? I just thought about something. I do these interviews every Sunday, and we put them on the Adobo tablet. We put them on YouTube. But I don't know what you guys went through. I've read every one of your letters, and I've watched your individual journeys, but I'm not there out on the yard, when you guys are walking the yard or in the housing units, when you do the GOGI meetings. And there's just more and more people that are hearing about GOGI. They're writing us saying, I want to do GOGI. Would it be possible that just the two of you have a Zoom call and you walk through the steps teaching the audience how to run a GOGI meeting? We have a calendar. Here's why we have a calendar. We have tools. There's 12 of them. There's 4 sets of tools. Our meetings are, would it be possible for you to, just like if you were to pop back onto a yard and say, oh yeah, circle around, here's how we do GOGI, here's a power up meeting. would you guys be willing to do that without me and just the two of you talking about, oh, and here's how we did it, and here's how you do it? And would you guys be willing to do that?
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So it would just be the two of you. I would open the meeting, then I'm going to leave the meeting, and you guys are just going to say, okay, anybody who wants to run a GOGI meeting, this is how we got started. This is how we did it. You know, I've got the little, I've got the mini book and the meeting manuals. And yeah, the meeting manual, you could just kind of hold it up and, you know, show them. And all of this, they can get free downloads off our website. But you could show it, and, you know, the meeting manuals are PDFs that can be sent out to anybody. They're free. The books we also send to people. And we even have a mini meeting manual in the back of the mini book. In that way, and I think if you guys did that, we could actually put the screenshots of the particular meeting format so that people could take notes and do their own thing. I think that would be of a great service, because everybody's saying, how do I do GOGI? I want to do GOGI. I want to do GOGI. I think you guys are the best guys to share. How do you do GOGI? I wasn't in Ironwood. You guys were there, and you had to start it up on your own. GOGI got no love in Ironwood.
I know, especially, what was her name?
Karaoke.
Karaoke, man. She was,
man. Coach Taylor. She hated me. I thought, well, maybe we ought to rename it just so we can get inside, because it was like nails on a chalkboard. When she heard the name Coach Taylor, she. But you guys built the culture anyway. Now one of our strongest programs is Ironwood. So, but she also retired. So, yeah. In any case, the truth always comes to light, and GOGI will always win at the end of the day.
You can't stop positivity.
No, you cannot stop positivity. You could try, and sometimes it gets discouraging. And like Rafael said, when his friend said you have to suffer for the things you really care about, well, there certainly is that. Okay, our time is almost over. Let's see. We've been at this like 35 minutes. So Rafael, Coach Rafael, we're going to have you on more, and we are going to have you leading those teams meetings. But what would you like to say to the person that's looking at your tiny little image on their little tablet? They can't even see the whites of your eyes. They can't see your soul because it's a tiny little image. What do you have to say to the person that came across this video, that's listened up till now, and says, you know what, I might trust that guy. He sounds like I might trust him. I wish he were sitting here, because then I could look in the whites of his eyes and tell if he's being honorable. What do you have to say to that person that just is meeting you for the first time?
I would say, right, that I was once that guy on the yard where, like, terminology was the biggest dolphin on the yard, right? And meaning that my life revolved around drugs. It revolved around negativity. And it was one of the hardest struggles to do was to get sober. I'm not going to sit here and say that it was easy. And now it gets a little more easier now that they offer Suboxone, but even that's up to debatable, right? But so I didn't have the opportunity to experience Suboxone because I got sober before they started allowing Suboxone in there. But I would say that we all have a journey, and even a lot of us that have gone through a lot and were once the biggest dolphins on the yard, we're now facilitating groups. We're now going to a board, getting found suitable, getting out, being out here in not being out here in prison, even though they say marriage is a prison, right? But no, being out here in society is from being that person to being able to now be sitting out here having this conversation can only show that it's possible if you're willing to suffer for what's important, if you're willing to put in the hard work, because it's going to be hard work. is especially our mentality can play tricks on us when we're thinking that people are thinking the worst of us, right? And sometimes it may not go away. There's times even now that I'm like, man, do my kids even want me here? Like, am I bugging them? Am I doing this? Like, our criminal mentality or our negative thinking, our negative self-talk, it's always going to kind of be there. But it's like knowing that, you know what, sometimes it's just in my head, and like they're actually happy that I'm here, or like knowing that there is a possibility of a brighter future. So
I love that. Looking at you now, it looks like you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You never had any problems. You did well in school. You did some sports. You went to college. You now run a tech company and you're now doing great, and nobody can relate to you because you had it so easy. What I'd really like to do is show them some pictures of you at that time, because there are going to be people that don't believe you. They're going to say, no way.
So I actually found some pictures of when I was in my criminal behavior, when I sent a picture from in prison when I was still bald head, like looking like a gang member and everything. And I'm still trying to learn how to work the Photoshop thing so I can do like a before and after picture.
Yes, I want that.
So I can have the old one and then the new one. So I'm working on that just to show, like, to compare the differences, because I've seen that a lot with people when they do that, and I was like, it's just part of the journey for me. This is now my opportunity to be able to do that, to share my story and be of service.
Yeah, I want to see the before and after, because I've kind of followed along that journey. I've watched you evolve through your letters, but I haven't seen the pictures. So thank you for your message to our students. It warms my heart that part of my volunteerism was a part of putting fuel in your engine so you can make the right choices. I really almost brings me to tears, because I know that you as an example will change many, many lives, just like Coach Robert. The journey that he went on proves that nothing is impossible. Everest can be climbed. It's not easy, but you can do it. So thank you for those comments. Coach Robert, what about you? You're talking to somebody who does not believe you. They're thinking, oh, that guy doesn't know anything about my life. I'm sitting here, I'm 17. I can't relate to this guy. He has palm trees in the background. He's got expensive glasses on. He has his own car. He has his own girlfriend. He cannot relate with me. What do you have to say to that person? And I want a before picture for you too. I would really like to see what it was like when I would cross the street to avoid you if I saw you on the street.
Yeah, well, I actually have several from prison from back in the day that I'll send them to you. I've seen them before. I compare them from when I first went to prison and I was in the chute, and then to now. And I go, man, what a change! Because you know what? I remember one time I went to committee, and this was before I paroled. I went to committee. And I walked in, and the captain looks at me, and then she's looking at the computer, looks at me, and looks at the computer. I go, "What's your name?" He goes, "My name is Robert Gomez." He goes, "Is this you right here?" I goes, "Yeah, I guess so." He goes, "You don't look nothing like this picture that I'm looking at. You totally look different."
I go, love that. What a compliment!
Absolutely. And that's there. I thought you're looking at the criminal that didn't care, that was living a hopeless lifestyle. And today, I know you're looking at an individual that has hope, that is positive, and they know that's living life the right way. And she goes, "I like that." And I mean, and that's a message. I mean, it wasn't an easy path, because I had a pushback from individuals that at the time they're supposed to be my friends. They stopped talking to me, or they look at me, they give me, and they walk away. And which at first, it was hard for me to oh man, and I questioned myself at times. But as time went on, I became more comfortable with myself and my own skin. I go, forget these guys. I mean, I'm in my own path, and I'm feeling good. And like I said, it wasn't about me. They had their own issues that they were going through, and I just went on, and I met the right individuals, and I stuck with them. They became my mentors, my friends. individuals that were examples to follow. And finally, I stepped into their shoes. And I know I helped a lot of guys that were in the same struggle that I was when I began my journey. Finally, I'm out here. It was hard work. I got denied 5 times. And
You got denied 5 times?
5 times. I got denied 5 times. I still did not get it. I thought because I had made some changes, I thought I was good. But no, I still did not know. I still did not know my story, why I did the things I did, and I thought I did, but I did. I just didn't have the right information, the right groups. Finally, Ironwood gave me the opportunity, and I learned up on myself. And finally, I was able to. When I went to board this last time, I was able to show them the individual that I was today, and at least that I am today. And they gave me the thumbs up, and they found me suitable for parole. And like Rafa said, life is not easy here. Life here does not pause for anybody. Life is just going, and so you gotta stay on it, or else you're gonna leave behind. Yeah, there's I like one of the things that I like to say, because one gets out and okay, we still gotta be on parole. We still gotta do meet these restrictions and this and that. But how I like to see it is that, you know what? We got to be accepting of the consequences of our actions, because even though we're already out here, there's still consequences of our actions that we face in employment, our record. Okay, those are the consequences of our choices, our past choices. People look down on you, but they don't know, they distrust you. Okay, I understand that. Those are the consequences of my actions. So with that mentality, I was more accepted. Okay, and as time when I've gained that trust, they know me, they know who I am. And they're inviting, they're always welcoming me, and it's a great feeling. But you just have to work at it.
I love it. I love your messages. I can't wait till we can record how to hold a GOGI meeting. How do you hold a Power Up meeting? I can't wait to do that. Hopefully, maybe next Sunday you guys can do that. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah. As long as like around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because I go to work. I know. Right now, as soon as the meeting's on, I'm gonna go to work.
Okay, so let's do that. And Coach Rafael, I know you're getting ready to use phones and Zooms and everything, but there is an app. It's called Alarm Clock.
Actually, I have an iPhone. It's called Reminders.
Reminders, okay, but make it nice and loud so that if you do your midnight bonfires, Coach Taylor's not sitting here trying to dry her hair so quick with the blow dryer I can't find so I can be on time. And then I thought you were ghosting us, and then Coach Robert says, "Well, I can't find him. So yeah, reminders.
Absolutely.
I'll definitely get a little better. This is a learning experience, and I'm going to learn from this and get better at it.
There you go.
So next Sunday, we're going to have you guys teach our audience how to run a GOGI meeting. If there's nobody there to run it for you, there's no space, there's no sponsor, there's just a couple of guys and a GOGI book or a meeting manual, or maybe a loved one just sends copies of it, whatever. So we'll do that next Sunday.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm so proud of you guys. I just really am. It just makes me so happy. I love you both very, very much. I'm so proud of you. You guys make every bit of my volunteerism worth every hardship. It's not been an easy 26 years for me, but being able to talk to you is kind of like all those years of rejection and failures and obstacles and driving 10 hours to get to an institution and then have it on lockdown, all those disappointments. It's all been worth it. When I see men like you, it just, I can't tell you how proud I am.
No, thank you, Coach. It means a lot.
Yeah, you don't know how much those words mean a lot.
I'm telling you, I gave up my life on the bet that if given the proper tools, men like you would stand up and show up as a solution. And you've proven me right. So I win. Yeah.
That's right.
All right, guys.
All right, Coach. Enjoy your Sunday. All right, bro. Take care.
All right, bro.
G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. Gogi told me this, I got, come on, just to live by. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. Gogi told me this, I got the tools to live by.
All the GOGI Life Tools books are available on Amazon.
Gogi told me this, I got the tools